What's YouTube? I've got a tech update here, and today I discovered that Samsung Galaxy S3 sales have overtaken the Apple iPhone. Now, for me, this wasn't really a big surprise. Some people will be surprised, some people won't be. It's all a matter of opinion. Now, the reason I'm not surprised is because the Samsung Galaxy, since it was first released in 2010, has come a really long way. It was the iPhone 4's main competitor. Then there was the iPhone 4S and the Galaxy S2. And the iPhone 4S actually overtook the Galaxy S2. They both had dual-core processors, they both had a decent amount of RAM. I can't remember how much RAM the Galaxy S2 had, I've not looked it up. But then we had the iPhone 5 and the Galaxy S3. And a Galaxy S4, being beginning of 2013, should be due out soon, along with an iPhone 5S or 6 in September, most likely 5S, due to the order that the iPhone has come out in the 3GS, the 4, the 4S and the 5. A 5S would make sense. Now you see, the Samsung Galaxy has not had an S because it's called the Galaxy S, or the Galaxy Note, the bigger version. You've got the Galaxy S, the Galaxy S2, the Galaxy S3, but then you've got S added to the end of every iPhone, which means that the design generally lasts for 2 years. Obviously, the iPhone 3GS was much faster than the iPhone 3G, but they both look the same. Similar story with the iPhone 4 to the iPhone 5. Galaxy phones have always looked different. There's loads of innovation in them. This is part of the reason I'm not surprised that they have overtaken the iPhone in sales. Now, I am an iPhone 5 user, so it's probably going to be my last iPhone. I might go to Android in 2 years' time. I'm not decided yet, because the iPhone's a nice phone to use. It's fast, it's fluent, but it's only got a dual-core processor running at 1.3 GHz and 1 GB of RAM. The Galaxy S3, I believe, is 1.4 GHz, and it's quad-core. And that's even more powerful than the Nexus 7, which is actually a newer device. And it also has two models. I think there's a locked United States model with about 1 GB of RAM. I live in the UK, so I'm not 100% sure of this, but then I know that the ones sold here have 2 GB of RAM, so that's blazes the iPhone 5 specs. However, there is the Galaxy S3 Mini as well, which is about the same size as the iPhone 5. Because the Galaxy S3, as shown by the picture that's currently up on the screen, is a much bigger phone. They do sell a Mini, which is 1 GHz dual-core phone with, I believe it's 1 gig of RAM, might be half a gig, I can't remember that well, I'm sorry. And now, the reason that the Galaxy S3 and the Galaxy Note 2 have quad-core processors becomes evident when you use the Galaxy S Mini. It's really slow, because of the dual-core processor that I can't handle the new Android that the Galaxy S3 has. It's an unbelievable phone, the Galaxy S3, really customizable. Both the cameras are the same, except the iPhone 5 has a slightly more open aperture to let a little bit more light in. The iPhone 4 had f2.8 aperture, then 2.6 in the Galaxy S3, and 2.4 in the iPhone 4 and 4S and 5, sorry. There was also panorama on both the phones, so there's no really big comparison. The Galaxy S3 doesn't have as many apps available as the iPhone does. The iPhone 5 apps also were updated not as frequently though, because obviously you've got Apple checking that you're not trying to access the phone's file system. And that's another thing that brings me into next, is that the Galaxy S3 currently runs Android 4.1 and Android 5.0 is due out soon. You've also got the Nexus devices that run Android 4.2. Then you've got, I'm currently using iOS 6.1 Beta 4 on an iPhone 5. And comparing my Nexus 7 with my iPhone 5, I've got widgets, which my phone doesn't have. I've got customizable task manager, which my phone doesn't have. You've only got standard multitasking. You've got previews, little picture previews in the multitasking, iPhone doesn't have. But then there's a couple of things that an iOS device would have that the iPhone doesn't. So you've got more demanding apps, which an iPhone does have, because less goes on in iOS in the background, because you're not trying to power stuff like live wallpapers and just other background tasks that go on in phones. The iPhone has a little bit less of them. So iOS is a more fluent and smooth operating system. It'd be like the same with the Mac really. The Mac is less powerful spec computer, the MacBook Air for example, but it runs fast because it's got a less demanding operating system than Windows 8 and Android. They're kind of related in a way. I know really I should be saying Windows Phone is more related, but it's true, isn't it? Android is more related to Windows 8 because there's more customization, wallpaper, colours, themes, skins. Routing is easier. Jailbreaking in iOS 6 has been a monumental disaster so far. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating that a bit. There is a jailbreak on the way, and there was good news recently that there is a potential 6.1 untethered jailbreak out. So, but that's the thing. You have to jailbreak an iPhone to customize it. You don't have to jailbreak any Android device at all. Now, both the phones have pretty much the same mobile specs. You've got 822.11n Wi-Fi as standard. I think they both run at 5 GHz. Then you've got 4G LTE, HPA+, blah blah blah, all of that. It's all the same. So there's no comparison there. Now, of course, iOS 6.1 is due out soon, so there will be the untethered jailbreak. And at the moment, you can't even jailbreak the iPhone 5 at all. There's nothing available for it in terms of jailbreak. So, still waiting, but as I've said, sooner or later there will be something. Now, Apple Maps. We cannot make this video about Apple Maps because we all know that it was a fail, wasn't it? There's Google Maps was booted. There's a new Google Maps app in the App Store. YouTube was booted. There's a new YouTube app, and they're good, but it's just a shame that they don't come native built into the phone anymore. But the thing is, on Google Maps on the older iDevices, obviously the data will get out of date gradually as time moves on. Whereas if the Google Maps in the App Store keeps getting updated, it will be okay. But I've looked online at some Apple Map disasters, and we've got the Clifton Suspension Bridge, which is about 10 miles from my house, and it dips down into the river. It actually looks quite hilarious. Then there's also the Furniture Museum. I don't know where it is, but I saw a picture of a furniture museum online, and it was in the river. So Apple Maps was quite a letdown for the iPhone. It's been updated since, very minor. Like there was some places that didn't even have satellite data, but they've used older data from a third party just to implement that so you can use it. It's surprising, my road had up-to-date data, but now they've replaced it with old data. It doesn't make sense, but it must have been easier just to get it out all at once. Then, of course, you've got Flyover in Apple Maps, which is actually nicer than Google Maps Street View. In some ways. In other ways, Google Maps Street View is nicer, but in other ways, Apple Maps, the 3D Flyover is good. I've tried turn-by-turn navigation on both of them. There's no comparison. The Galaxy S3, it's got Google Maps built in with Street View and all that, being an Android phone. So, this has been quite a long video of why I'm not surprised the Galaxy S3 has overtaken the iPhone 5. It's also a little bit cheaper. Either the same price or cheaper. Now, personally, I wouldn't buy a Galaxy S3, I would get a Note 2. If I had to upgrade my phone, which I'm not going to because I've got an iPhone 5 already. Of course, I'm not an Apple fanboy just because I own an iPhone 5, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video, would I? I know it's gone on for quite long, and I've not actually shown any video footage. It's just been this still picture on screen. But you can just look online, compare the phones, and see what suits you best. But here's my recommendation: if you want an easy-to-use phone, you want Siri, you want a nice camera with easy usability, you want a nice operating system which works decently well, and you want a phone that has 4G LTE. You like the glass and aluminium design of the iPhone 5, and you can afford it. Of course, you go for the iPhone 5. If you want lots of customization, you can get the Galaxy S3, you can route it, you can put custom Android on it, you can do this, that and the other, and it just goes on and on of how much more you can do on Android. And the phone is slightly cheaper. Now, I'm not downing the iPhone 5 at all. It's a brilliant phone, as is the Galaxy S3 and the Note 2. I love all of them. And if you want a cheap budget phone, then there's also the Nexus 4, which is an LG phone. It replaced the Galaxy Nexus earlier this year, actually last year. So yeah, it's also got a 1.5 GHz quad-core processor, so it's more powerful than Galaxy S3, and that's the same 2 GB of RAM, but it's only £280 for a 16 GB one that's unlocked. It's a really good value phone if you wanted a Nexus device. Anyway, thanks for watching this One Super News update, and I will see you again in the next video.